What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Man, do we have a very, very good looking gun to take a look at. This is the SIG Sauer AXG Scorpion. Now, it's pretty much a aluminum frame P320 with the upgraded trigger, but there's a lot more to it than that. As always, we're gonna talk about the features of this gun, how well it shoots for the size, because this thing, and price, this thing shoots a lot nicer than a gun this size and this price. It's just really, really good. Of course, the testing that I've done, pros, cons, what I think of it overall. The only thing I need to do before we get started is thank my buddy Johnny, local friend of mine who let me borrow this gun for the review. He's let me borrow like a dozen really nice high-end guns like Staccatos and H&Ks and Wilson Combats. So Johnny, you are the man. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's get right into it. As far as magazines, most SIG pistols, very high quality magazines. Very rare I have an issue with a SIG magazine. They're metal. It comes with 3 17-round magazines. Now these are the magazines from my X5 Legion, but they work in here no problem. The only con of the magazine, they are very high quality, but they are a little bit on the expensive side. The mag well on the gun is very, very interesting. So it has a slight mag well. It's not huge. This is not purely a competition gun, so I dig the size of the mag well. But the cool part is the grips, the side panel of the grips are actually beveled as part of the mag well, which I thought was kind of cool. Smart that SIG did that. And the transition from the grips to the gun is very, very smooth, so your magazine's not going to get hung up on anything. The grip itself, like I mentioned, is a aluminum alloy, very different than most SIG P320s that have a polymer grip. The front and the back straps, the checkering on them is very, very good. It's aggressive, and with the minor recoil of 9mm, this gun locks in. It does not move. It does not go anywhere at all. The side has removable G10 grips. I love the way these look. If you don't, you pop those screws out, no big deal, and you can swap out those grips very, very easily. The cool thing about this gun is the back strap is also replaceable as well. So if you don't like that back strap, that's another thing that can be swapped out, replaced. Whatever you want to do is fine. Now the mag release is a little bit different than a standard P320, but not in a bad way at all. It's a round magazine release instead of the traditional SIG shape, but the location, the texture, the size, the shape, everything about the mag release is fine. It does drop the magazines freely, which is always an important thing, and it is a reversible mag release for you weird backwards lefty people. The trigger is solid. I think most people will really, really like this trigger. It's a flat face at an angle. I believe it's the same exact trigger as the X5 Legion. It breaks around 3.5 pounds or so, and it's just a really, really solid trigger, and one of the ways that it makes the gun shoot really nice. So you have a very, very short amount of take up, and you come to a decent wall. You pull through the wall for a while. The wall is a little on the long side, and then your reset is also a little on the long side. Like SIG needs to take some lessons from Canik. I can't believe I just said that. But SIG needs to take some lessons from Canik on trigger resets. So while the take up is super short, the reset is a little long and it's a little soft. Like the trigger doesn't push your finger off. It's a little on the soft side. But overall, the trigger is really, really good. I don't think most people are going to complain about the trigger on this gun. Now the rail, nothing to write home about, no issues there. It's a standard 1913 rail. There's 3 cutouts. You can add any light laser or doohickey you want. My buddy Johnny is the man, and he added a Surefire X300 on here, and of course he did an FDE just to keep everything pretty and matchy-matchy. And again, you gotta say, this is one really, really good looking gun. Slide release, slide stop, whatever you want to call it is fine. I didn't have a problem with me in my hands. I never rode the slide release at all. It's in an area where it doesn't get in the way. I never had any issues with it. It is ambi, again, for you lefties or if you're shooting with your support hand. I choose to use these as a slide release. If you are like me and use it as a slide release, you should be able to reach it no problem. It was very, very easy. I did a bunch of magazine, 1 reload 1s, 1 reload 5, different things. And I could, I could reach that slide release very, very easily. Now, before we talk about the slide, the sights, and the optic system, I need to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, and it is Blackout Coffee Company. Blackout Coffee is partly owned by Guns and Gadgets. They're down in Florida, and I say it all the time, but the coffee is delicious. Right now, Sunday morning, this is my second cup of coffee, and it's really, really good. I'll tell you a quick story. A couple weeks ago, I ran out of Blackout Coffee, the beginning of October, ran out, and I had to get some store-bought coffee. And I didn't realize how spoiled I got with the Blackout Coffee because the store-bought coffee was absolutely disgusting. I am now a snob. I'm spoiled with the Blackout Coffee. Anyway, link and discount code is down in the video description if you want to pick anything up from them. Not kidding. It's very, very good quality tea, hot chocolate, and coffee. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program. The slide is a stainless steel slide, and again, the grip is an aluminum alloy grip, and then the whole thing is Cerakote, and that's what allows it to be matchy-matchy, where a lot of polymer guns, you don't get the matchy-matchy look like this, and that's one of the reasons I think this is just an absolute beautiful, beautiful gun. It does have front and rear serrations. The front serrations are okay, they're usable, they work fine. I don't usually use front serrations, so to me it's not a huge deal, but if you do, I'll call them like a C+ for front serrations. I don't quite think they're perfect. The one thing I will say is this gun is way smoother than most P320s. It does go through SIG's Custom Works, which is a newer Custom Works, and whatever they did to smooth this out, polish it up, it's definitely more smoother than a standard P320. Take it for what it's worth. Now the sights are good. It's a set of SIG X-ray sights, and I like the SIG X-ray sights. The front is a bright green dot. They are night sights. The rear sight, it has a ledge for one-handed manipulation. The only beef with the sight is one, if you're colorblind to green, may not be the best sights for you. I am not, so it's fine. I love that they're night sights, but the pistol's optics ready, but they don't come with suppressor height sights. I don't know if you agree, but if I'm buying an optics ready pistol, I would prefer to see suppressor height sights, but I don't know how many of you agree with me. Now the optics system is drastically improved. A lot of the previous SIG pistols only worked, the footprint only worked with the loophole and the SIG brand optics. And why that's okay for like competition, I personally am not comfortable using a loophole DeltaPoint Pro or most SIG optics for EDC and carry. I want that Holosun, I want a Trijicon, I want something a little bit more durable. So this pistol gives you the ability to put on a Holosun / Trijicon footprint or a loophole SIG footprint, which is great. Now my only beef with the optics system is a lot of the pistols have those little feet, and I'm totally drawing a blank what they're called, but those little feet, you guys can roast me in the comments for this, interact and lock in the RMR or whatever you have on there. And if you have to, if the optic gets bumped, or if you have to rack it off some dude's face, those little feet in there help absorb a lot of the recoil. With this one, you only have 2 screws going in, so if you ever have to rack it off of the optic, all of that pressure is being taken up on those screws. Now with that said, there are other pistols that do that as well, like the Walther PDP, for example, and I haven't really seen any problems with it. And through all the testing that bigger YouTube channels have done, like Mr. Guns and Gear, Aaron from Sage Dynamics, they really beat that up, and it was never an issue. So I'm hesitant with it, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I think it will absolutely be okay. So let's talk about taking this pistol down and the modularity. It is very similar to a standard P320. You lock the slide to the rear, make sure it's unloaded. We're going to rotate this takedown lever down. That's a stiff one. Send the slide forward, and the slide comes right off. You don't need to pull the trigger or anything like that. The fire control unit inside of the frame here is the same as a P320 that I could tell. If you want to take it out, you just pull the takedown lever out, and then the fire control unit will lift right out. And this is the serialized firearm right here. So the beauty of the P320, if you don't know, is the modularity. Not that I think many people are going to take out this fire control unit to put it in like a polymer grip, but if there is another grip, I don't know, a Legion grip or an aftermarket grip, you'll be able to easily take that out and put it in there. When you put the fire control unit back in, put the back of it in first and then push it down. I should have said that before I did it. And then the takedown lever, you can just push the takedown lever back in. As far as the recoil spring, it is a dual captured recoil spring. That part is pretty standard, but the thing that's different is the end of the recoil spring that integrates with the barrel is not a round recoil spring like a lot of them. It's more of an oval shape. So when you reinstall this recoil spring, you need to make sure it goes up and down, not left to right on the pistol, or you won't reinstall it correctly and it won't work. So up and down on that recoil spring instead of left to right. Putting it back together is very standard. You just slide the slide back on the frame, lock it to the rear, rotate the takedown lever forward, send the slide forward, and you are good to go. Now let's quickly take a look at the dimensions and the MSRP. It's a little on the heavy side. Not bad, just a little on the heavy side for the size of the gun. Now the MSRP is around 1,000-ish, but what these guns are actually going for right now is more than that, because this is a limited, somewhat of a limited run from SIG. I've seen them online for 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 13, 14, 15. So I'm not going to quote the exact price, but it's somewhere in that range. If you like this gun, you want to get one, I'd pick it up now, because I'm going to assume the price is just going to continue to go up. Best part of the video, guys, let's talk about the testing and the shooting that I've done. Right off the bat, the first thing I want to say is how nice this gun shoots for its size. It shoots much nicer, like a gun that's much larger and a lot more expensive. Like, I was shooting this gun with my buddy Johnny, the one who owns it, and I've shot with him a bunch. And after the second or third magazine, he said, dude, you shoot that really, really well. You should buy one of those guns. And I laughed because I'm an average shooter, but I do shoot this gun extremely well. Halfway through the first magazine, I'm shooting, I'm plinking, hitting some steel, hitting my foam dummies, and I looked over at Johnny and I said,
how much does this cost?
I paid $1,200 for it.
Because I really, really like this gun and I really wanted to buy one. Anyway, the testing. Of course we shot steel. I always shot steel. My range has a ton of steel and I love slaying me some steel. I did a ton of drawing from the holster. This gun fits in my Safariland outside the waistband holster, so that allowed me to draw from the holster a whole bunch and do a lot of drills. I think more than anything else, I have shot my foam dummies from VTact, South African company that I'm trying to get to import these foam dummies into the States. Wish me luck. At the same time I was testing this pistol, I was also testing those dummies. So we put, excuse me again, I put a ton of rounds into those dummies just because it is so much fun. I also brought this gun to my weekly shooters fitness class 2 times every week. I take a class that mixes fitness and shooting together, and I took it to the indoor range twice. I don't think I have any footage of that, and I shot it at the indoor range twice, even a little bit under low light as well. So shot it quite a bit in a lot of different environments. So let's talk some pros and cons based on all the testing and the shooting that I've done. It's one of the first guns, if not the first gun, from the SIG custom workshops, which is kind of cool. The biggest pro for me is how nice it shoots for the size. It shoots like a much bigger and a much more expensive gun. Like, this was approaching, not quite, don't kill me, this was approaching staccato level shooting ability for me in my hands and what I was shooting. It was really up there. The trigger is solid, the optics system is pretty good, the grip feels great, and the overall aesthetics of the gun is absolutely off the charts. I like the SIG X-ray sights, and I love the modularity you get with the P320 and the P365. Now, as far as cons, I'm hesitant with the optic system. I'm not going to call that a con because I don't see any problems with it, and I've becoming less hesitant with it as more guns have optic systems without those little feet that go into the optic, that all the pressure, if you rack it one-handed, is on those screws. I'm still a little hesitant, but I think it's okay. Again, I would love to see suppressor height sights on any optics ready pistol, but that's my opinion. I don't know how many of you boys and girls are going to agree with me. Overall, SIG crushed it on this gun. I love it. Again, it shoots like a much bigger gun. I would like to buy one of these guns because I can use it as a jack of all trades. I could use this for a bedside gun. I could easily carry this every day, maybe put a little bit of a smaller light on there, but I would carry this every day, and at the same time I could roll up to a competition and training class, whatever, and I can shoot this just as well as my X5 Legion. One thing we did do, Johnny, my buddy Johnny and I, is I took out my X5 Legion and this, and we shot them back to back. And I hesitate because we couldn't tell which one shot better. I was on the fence. He said the AXG, I don't know, he could be biased, it's his gun, but I'm going to say it shoots just as well as the X5 Legion, even though the X5 Legion is bigger and heavier. I was shooting it just as well, just as fast, just as accurate. So take that for what it's worth. All right, before you guys go, let me thank my buddy Johnny again. He has loaned me several very, very nice firearms for review, and that's very kind of him, and I just want to let him know again that I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Everything else I'm about to mention, the link is down in the video description. The sponsor of today's coffee, let me get a little more. Sponsor of today's video is coffee. It's Blackout Coffee. Link in the video description is down below, and the coffee is absolutely delicious, made here in the States. These are the other companies who support me with affiliate links. Their support is greatly, greatly appreciated. My Patreon supporters supply a lot of this ridiculous amount of ammo that I shoot, so I always like to thank them. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you know where the link is. Guys, I started a second YouTube channel. YouTube and Instagram have been killing a lot of channels lately, so I started a second channel, and this one on YouTube is dedicated to YouTube Shorts. Short videos, less than a minute. If you like that type of content, again, you know where the link is down below. We have some Tiberius swag if you want to look extra goofy in a Tiberius t-shirt or hoodie, whatever, socks. The link, again, is down below. As far as social media, if you want to know what reviews I'm working on right now in real time before the review comes out on YouTube here, I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook. And once again, you know where the link is. More important than any of that nonsense, thank you guys for watching. It is truly, truly appreciated. Every time you guys like a video, comment, subscribe, enable the bell notifications, any of that nonsense, every time you guys do that, for whatever influencer, your video producer you're watching, it truly helps us out, and I truly, truly appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!